Let's take a look at this excellent new essay on the WM Review site. We'll look at just a section of it here, the section entitled Membership and Headship. And we'll pay special attention to the devastating conclusion, an undeniable conclusion, to those who refuse to bury their heads in the sand. The next stage of the argument from membership begins by stating that one cannot be the head of a body without also being a member of that body. We know, as a matter of reason, that the head is a type of member. Here are some authorities advancing this principle of reason, as well as the thesis itself. First, Pope Leo XIII, in his encyclical Satis Cognitum. He remarks in passing, "It is absurd to imagine that he who is outside the church can command in the church." St. Robert Bellarmine states, quoting also the Dominican Cajetan, "This reason is most certain. A non-Christian cannot in any way be pope," as Cajetan says in chapter 26 of the same book. And the reason is because what is not a member cannot be the head. Next, this is Cajetan's own expression of that principle. Being a member and being the head are so essentially ordered that being a member is anterior to being the head, as is evident because the head must be a member, but not conversely. In other words, the member must not also be the head. Therefore, that which is not a member is not the head. Now, has Francis done anything more clearly than prove that he hates the actual Catholic Church? Bellarmine also refers to Melchior Cano, O.P., Dominican. He teaches that heretics are not parts of the Church, nor members. And in the last chapter, at Argument 12, he says that it cannot even be thought that someone could be the head and pope who is neither a member or a part of the Church. Cardinal Biot makes the same argument. No one can be the head, even of a particular church, if he is not a member of the church. For what was ever a head which was not a member? For even though not every member is a head, nevertheless every head is a member. We live in an age, friends, where obvious truths must be spoken and defended. That's the state of today's putrefaction. Having established this point, here is the second syllogism. He proposed another syllogism earlier in the article. 1. One cannot be the head of the body of the Church if one is not a member of the body of the Church. 2. Francis is not a member of the body of the Church. He's made this abundantly clear by all of his actions and words. For example, his recent participation in Canada in a demon summoning ceremony. For example, his rabid hatred of the actual Roman Rite and consequent efforts to destroy it. Can you imagine an actual pope ever trying to wipe the actual Roman Rite off the face of the earth? 3. Therefore, Francis cannot be the head of the body of the Church. Now, we're talking about the visible head. Christ, of course, ultimately is the head of the mystical body of Christ. We're talking about the visible head, the Pope, the visible head on earth. Let's revisit that syllogism. 1. One cannot be the head of the body of the Church if one is not a member of the body of the Church. 2. Francis is not a member of the body of the Church. If there's one thing Francis has made crystal clear, it's that he hates actual Catholicism. 3. Therefore, Francis cannot be the head of the body of the Church. Francis is not just a bad father. He's not a father at all. A bad father must first be an actual father. Francis is not an actual spiritual father. He's made that crystal clear to those who refuse to bury their heads in the sand. Are you one of those? Moreover, It takes no legal authority whatsoever to recognize objective, manifest reality. Our minds were made for truth. One doesn't need to be a coroner to recognize a dead body. The coroner is needed only to officially establish the legal fact of the body's demise. But the body was already factually dead. It's time to abandon the mad incoherence of the recognize and resist position. It's time to get real. It's time to accept reality. Manifest reality spitting in our faces daily. It's not about comfort. It's about truth. It's about reality. Today's mad world is at war with reality, at war with truth. We actual Catholics, we actual Christians are the last guardians of truth. We must embrace all of it, no matter how uncomfortable. We who profess to follow the way, the truth, and the life. As for this article, I'll link it below along with many other resources. It's time to get real. And think of it like this. If Francis is right, then everyone is welcome in heaven, including those who recognize the truth of his anti-papacy. Every time one calls Francis an actual pope, one participates in today's diabolical war against truth. And therefore, against Christ. Refuse to participate, friends. Get real. Don't be afraid of the truth.